Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. Sister was mad because I bought a camper for camping. A while back, I posted in another subreddit asking if I was in the wrong about this. The resounding answer was, heck no! And the situation has since been resolved, albeit with a fair amount of friction. I wanted to chronicle the whole thing here, so let's get started. I, 32-year-old male, was never a big fan of camping. Didn't like it, but don't really hate it either. My sister, however, loves camping, much like one would love a hobby. Her and her husband camp often, and would invite me from time to time. Every time she invited me on a camping trip though, something stupid would happen. My sister and her husband love to camp with friends multiple times a year, and when these people get together to camp, they get obliterated drunk and do stupid things to each other. They use camping mainly as a reason to get wasted and act like the way they did in college, despite having 2 kids. Both kids are boys, aged 10 and 9 years old. Even though these kids should not be on these camping trips, my sister and Bill always drag them along and call it family bonding time. Anytime I go camping with my sister and Bill, they love to screw with me. Them and their friends are relentless with pranks. They all act like fraternity bros, and I guess they all consider me as fresh meat that needs hazing. The usual thing they'd do was collapse my tent on me, but they also liked to make loud noises like yelling, blaring an air horn, or putting a boombox on max volume and put it right near my head through the tent walls. They also do this kind of shit to each other, and then some. There has also been stink bombs, in tents during the night, water balloons, stolen clothing, writing on faces with markers, etc. Last year, I brought one of those cots that's in its own small tent, so they decided to push me over in it like they were cow tipping. I'd had enough. So this year, I took some measures. I honestly only went along with the camping for the sake of my nephews. They are completely neglected on these trips. My mother also begs me to go so that my nephews will be looked after. They're good kids, and I really did want to make sure that they had at least one responsible adult taking care of them. I don't want to forego camping altogether, again, for their sake. So this year, I went online and found a used camper. I didn't tell anyone I did this, so no one expected to see it when I drove up to the campsite with it on the back of my F-150. My sister looked surprised and not pleased. Everyone else seemed to love the camper though, and I gave them a tour. During the camping, all of the usual stuff happened, except for any time they tried to screw with me, I just went into the camper and locked the door. Around 8 AM, I heard someone outside fiddling with the doorknob. They were trying to get inside to prank me. They ended up resorting to using the air horn, so I put in earplugs. They then tried to rock the truck, but it must have been too heavy because they stopped after a few seconds. I didn't get up until 11 AM. I made myself breakfast, got to do my business in a portable toilet, and had a decent place to change clothes. When I finally came outside, my sister looked pissed, then made a passive-aggressive remark about me finally gracing everyone with my presence. The rest of the time we were camping, stuff went on like this, but they couldn't mess with me while I was locked in a box. My nephews were thrilled and always hung out with me in the camper. We played Uno, and I had a refrigerator filled with soda. When the trip was over, my sister confronted me and said that next time, she was making a tents-only rule. I stated that I wouldn't be going then, because my camper and I are a package deal. She told me she hated the camper, and that it wasn't necessary. I said she only hated it because she can't mess with me now that I have it. I was sick of all the stupid immaturity, and if they want me to continue to be their free babysitter, since they don't want to be parents, then my camper comes with. She called me a jackass and walked away to fume. My sister and Bill were upset with me for days, so I showed them my original Reddit post after getting the verdict of them being assholes. They were pissed. My sister yelled at me that I was a jerk for making the post and wanted me to take it down. I refused and told her and Bill to read the comments. They did and ended up becoming extremely embarrassed by the opinions many people had of them. They finally agreed that if I keep camping with them to help with the kids, there will be no more pranks. Even better is when they learned that it's a potential criminal offense to rock my camper the way that they did, because it could cause injury to a person inside. They're also not going to use the air horn anymore for obvious reasons. My sister was very upset that so many here called her out as a bully, especially because I agreed with them. My brother-in-law initially defended her, but was sucked into it as well for always going along with her antics, to which I called him a complete tool. He and my sister were both extremely upset to have been called out as acting like a drunken frat. They were especially sore when I pointed out that we were not teens anymore, and they're parents. My sister is 35, and Bill is 36. The argument did start out with things like, "Why can't you just lighten up?" And it remained a stalemate until my sister and Bill went through all the comments like I told them to. Also, it seems that I may have started a camper trend, because one of the couples my sister and Bill are close friends with just bought one off Facebook for themselves. And one of the other couples are looking for a camper trailer. My sister has shown noticeable irritation over this. I guess the days of tents-only camping may actually be over for the group. My sister loved to act like she was in charge, but in reality, all the group really did was meet up at one of the several camping sites multiple times a year. Lastly, there is my mother. She was the most unhappy finding out about my original post, but I told her that I really didn't care what she thought, because she was the one that insisted I keep going, despite me being miserable because the children. I called her out that if she was so concerned with that, she'd have gone. She's retired and has plenty of time on her hands. She then whined that she hates camping, and I sarcastically nodded sympathetically and said, "So do I." She hasn't apologized, but did admit that I was right. I'm still gonna be going camping, because what's the point of having a camper if I don't use it? I do really like the camper, and it's more for myself now, and I can even go camping by myself on my own time now. I also find peace in the fact that knowing that when I do go camping with my sister and Bill, they aren't allowed to screw with me, so I think I can finally enjoy being out in the woods for a few days at a time now. I'm also going to be looking into getting solar panels and setting up a gaming console as well. I'm still a fan of older consoles like PS2, N64, and GameCube, so having at least one of those in the camper, along with a collection of some good books to read in peace, sounds like a great way to unwind. Ugh. This is the problem with clique mentality. This group of immature adults all seem normal to each other because they're all immature asshats. In an insane society, the sane man will appear insane. And in this scenario, OP is the insane man because he's the only one trying to protect someone else's kids. And that's the other thing, is that this wouldn't be as bad if there weren't children involved. Sure, be in your mid-30s, have some fun, but if you're a parent, that comes first, not you getting obliterated and acting like an idiot. I actually have been in a very similar situation to this one with a campground my parents go to, and I honestly should write a story about it because the things that went on in this campground is insane, and I'm going to air some dirty laundry right now, but that's okay because we're all here for the drama anyway, right? So here's my own personal little side story, and I'll try to keep it brief. So, my mother and stepfather had been going to this campground for over 10 years. They go there every weekend in the summer for like 3 months straight. My stepdad is Scottish and loves to drink, and he too was in this cliquey bubble with all of these college mentality like people. They would drink all night, be destructive, were super judgmental of people that didn't want to participate, and really, all of them have the mentality of 16-year-olds. I rarely went because it just hurt my brain observing these grown-ass adults acting this way and neglecting their kids, which leads me to this next part. They all had young kids that were never taken care of, and all of these kids literally just ran loose in this campground like children of the corn. One time, the kids were playing chicken with road traffic, and one of the kids got hit by a car. He went to the hospital and thankfully was fine, but do you think a child getting hit by a car changed these parents' behavior? Nope. They still got drunk and ignored their kids. Anyway, long story short, my mother is pretty introverted and rarely participated in the frat parties, which of course caused her to be alienated, and it got so bad that it ended in my mom and stepdad getting a divorce because he chose his high school camping clique over her. But yeah, what I just described was all just the tip of the iceberg as to what went on in this campground, and I really should write about it on Reddit because I feel like entitled parents at a campground who only care about drinking caused their child to get hit by a car and also ended in my parents getting a divorce is a pretty spicy title. Also, I only tell you guys this because it's extremely flabbergasting. My mother enabled my stepdad horribly. So in my opinion, their relationship ending was honestly for the best and needed to happen. But anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed that entitled people story and my little side story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!